Warning, playing FPL is highly addictive. It may cause stress, a loss of free time, a resentment towards friends or colleagues, and a dislike to football in general. Please, FPL responsibly. Hey guys, and welcome back to the Fixture Watch, the series that allows you to stay one step ahead of the FPL by looking at which teams have the best or worst run of fixtures over the next 4 game weeks. As always, if you are enjoying the series, please consider supporting FPL TV by dropping a like on the video and subscribing to stay tuned for more FPL content. So, unless you've been living under a rock for the past few weeks, you know that we have something called a blank game week coming soon in the Fantasy Premier League. What this means is we have a game week where not every team has a fixture, and therefore players from those teams won't be scoring points. It happens not this game week but the next, in game week 31, due to clashes with the FA Cup, and in it no less than 12 teams will be missing for this blank, therefore only 8 teams will play. So be sure to keep this in mind and prepare well when making your transfers. So with that in mind, let's now look at who has good or bad upcoming fixtures. The first team with decent fixtures is Liverpool. Now, they may not have the strongest fixture list, especially seeing as they're playing away to United this coming weekend, but we can't take for granted that they do have a fixture in game week 31, and with Liverpool being one of only 8 teams playing that weekend, they are by far the most appealing team for that blank game week. Liverpool are the only top 6 team in action for game week 31, which has forced FPL managers into filling their squads with a maximum 3 Liverpool players. Personally, I think this is highly advisable because they're a team in form, they're the league's second highest scorers, and following these 4 game weeks, they also maintain a mouth-watering set of fixtures, with Bournemouth, Stoke and West Brom to follow. That means they qualify as potential long-term options, so on paper you can't really go wrong. I've opted for their 3 attacking options personally, in Salah, Mane and Firmino, while others are jumping on some defensive options too, such as Van Dijk and Robertson. A team with a bad set of fixtures is Swansea. Now, Swansea are a team in excellent form at the moment, which could be a reason for some managers to start considering them as genuine FPL options. They've won 4 of their last 6 Premier League games. But before getting ahead of yourself too much, perhaps consider their upcoming run of fixtures. Not only does Swansea have a blank fixture in game week 31, but they also play their next 3 fixtures on the road. This is greatly significant because all 4 of their recent wins have been at home. And away from home, it's a different story for this Swansea side, only winning 1 of the last 12 games on the road, with 9 defeats and 3 draws in that time. This includes defeats to Stoke, Burnley, Everton and most notably Brighton last week, where they were handed a 4-1 drubbing. So despite Swansea's upturn in form in recent weeks, clearly they're not quite the same team away from home. If you're an FPL manager who prefers players on form over fixtures, then look no further. And they do play Huddersfield and West Brom in the next 4, but with this poor away form in mind, it may be worth giving it a second thought, especially with that blank game week to manoeuvre around. Having spoke about Swansea, a team in form but with very tricky fixtures, we now move on to a team with quite the opposite, with Arsenal having great looking fixtures but who are on a terrible run of form lately. From all 12 teams that do have a missing fixture in game week 31, Arsenal have arguably the best 3 games around this blank. They play Watford, Stoke and Southampton either side of the blank game week, and most notably all of these fixtures are at home. In their most recent home game, Arsenal were battered by Manchester City. But let's not forget that before this, their home form was actually very, very good. In 14 games at home so far, they've won 10, scoring 36 goals in the process. That's the second most goals scored at home by any team in the league, second only to Manchester City. Arsenal, the fans and Arsene Wenger are currently at rock bottom, so you can't really blame anyone from steering clear of these players at the moment. But with now 3 consecutive home games to come and a long run of good fixtures to follow, is this now a chance for FPL managers to jump on some of Arsenal's differential options? Now back to the bad fixtures, it's Stoke City. Perhaps the only good thing about Stoke City over the next 4 game weeks is that they're one of only 8 teams who avoid the blank game week and actually have a fixture for game week 31. That is probably the only positive, because things look very difficult either side of that game against Everton. In those 3 games they face Man City, Arsenal and Tottenham, which makes their defensive options such as Moritz Bauer and Jack Butland a lot less appealing. With 3 goals in his last 4 games, Xherdan Shaqiri is understandably a popular choice with the blank game week coming up, and he is an outstanding midfield option for that game week when he plays Everton at home. But following that, it could be time to depart with the Swiss midfielder and look for alternatives. 2 teams with outstandingly good looking fixtures are West Brom and more notably Huddersfield. Both of them have fixtures in the blank game week, but West Brom just look a sinking ship at the moment, sitting bottom of the league, and therefore none of their players really stand out. Huddersfield, however, have looked a bit better recently, winning 2 straight games before that respectable defeat away to Spurs. They are certainly showing fight in this relegation battle, so because they do have a fixture in game week 31, perhaps their players may be worth consideration if you're looking to take a punt on some low budget options. Steve Mounier has 2 goals and 2 assists in his last 3, so he could fill that budget striker role in your side quite well over the next few weeks, and he is certainly looking like one of the better options at this price range recently. New midfield signing Alex Pritchard could too be worth a gamble, as he also returned points in both games prior to that Spurs defeat. As I said, both risky choices, but this is the fixture watch, and Huddersfield certainly have good fixtures. A top 6 side with a pretty poor run of fixtures is Manchester United. Despite the Red Devils winning back-to-back games, including an impressive win against Chelsea and a wonderful comeback away to Palace, United FPL options still remain unappealing. Attacking wise, the likes of Lingard, Martial and Rashford are all being rotated, Alexis Sanchez has failed to inspire, and Paul Pogba is still under criticism on which position suits him best. Lukaku is the only real consistent, and he is hitting a bit of form lately, but with this tough run of games in mind, I still believe there are better options out there during this period. Defensively, David De Gea remains the top scoring FPL goalkeeper for a reason, so even though he's only kept 1 clean sheet in the last 5, it's pretty fair to say that he's a seasoned keeper if you don't mind the expensive outlay. But other than him, there's not really any other appealing United options with this bad run of fixtures in mind. Their next 4 games include matches against Liverpool, the in-form Manchester City, and of course the blank fixture in game week 31. And that wraps up this episode of the Fixture Watch. Hopefully you found it informative and helpful with your FPL planning. If you did, please help the channel in continuing to make content by dropping a like and subscribing to FPL TV. Feel free to comment your own thoughts and views on teams and their fixtures in the comments below, and I'll catch you all shortly.